Hooray for Hollywood. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into my... Oh, hello there. I am Stan the Movie Man, and this is a twofer review. First, let's talk about Logan. It stars Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Boyd Holbrook, Stephen Merchant, Daphne Keane, and more. It is the story of everyone's favorite adamantium-clawed mutant, Wolverine, or as he's referred to through most of this film, Logan, played, of course, by Hugh Jackman. He is trying to live a quiet life as a chauffeur for hire, and when he isn't working, he's taking care of Professor Charles Xavier, played by Patrick Stewart. Charles is suffering from a neurodegenerative disease, which makes him extraordinarily dangerous, being the world's most powerful telepath. Sometimes he has a seizure that can seriously affect everyone around him and could possibly kill some people. And there's reference to an event that occurred sometime in the past, and that is why Logan is hiding him out in Mexico. Also helping Logan is Caliban, played by Stephen Merchant. Now, into Logan's life comes a little girl named Laura, played by Daphne Keane. She has been part of a project to create mutants through artificial insemination and then turn them into military weapons, a program that is being overseen by Dr. Rice, played by Richard E. Grant. But a nurse who was helping take care of the children has broken some of them out, and they are headed to Eden, apparently a place in Canada that it is safe for mutants to live if they can get across the border and away from this company that funded their creation and their head of security, a guy named Pierce, played by Boyd Holbrook. This is, according to Jackman, his last appearance as Wolverine. And also, Patrick Stewart said he's done it as well, except he's waffling a little bit, talking about perhaps playing Professor X on the FX TV show Legion. The film is amazing. It is not really so much a superhero story as it is a family road drama that just happens to have a lot of bloody violence in it. And it is filled with violence, and it deserves its R rating, not only for the violence, but for the language as well. So keep that in mind. But this is the film that I think a lot of people have wanted to see out of the X-Men universe for some time. Something extremely dark and gritty, but that still manages to have a heart. Take note, DC. Because this film is surprisingly emotional. Not just for the fact that it is Hugh Jackman's last run as Logan, but the story is really well done and has a surprisingly emotional core. So, I really enjoyed Logan a lot, and that's why I'm giving it 5 stars. Now, let's move on to Kong Skull Island, starring Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, John Goodman, Brie Larson, and more. The Monarch Project is trying to see what is on an island in the South Pacific that is surrounded by a continuous ongoing storm. Leading the project is Bill Randa, played by John Goodman, as well as his assistant Houston Brooks, played by Corey Hawkins. They are given a military escort that is led by Preston Packard, played by Samuel L. Jackson, set in the 1973 area, around the end of the Vietnam War. Packard is a hardcore soldier who is still looking for a fight, preferably one he can win. And he believes this won't be any big deal, but when they arrive at the island, they discover the big deal is King Kong. Also, while they're on the island, they find a World War II pilot who was shot down over the island, Hank Marlowe, played by John C. Reilly, as well as an entire group of villagers who all live on the island and who revere Kong as a god. And of course, if you've read anything about the film, I'm sure that there have been some mentions that it's kind of the Apocalypse Now of the monster movie world. And yeah, they strive for that. But really, it's all about the monsters. And we get monsters pretty quickly in the film. And we get some really wicked ones later as the story progresses. It's pretty much just pixels beating up pixels through the film, but it is surprisingly emotional. I was very shocked that I got so into some of the battles between Kong and the monsters on the island. The people are really pretty much secondary characters, and their stories aren't terribly interesting, with the exception of John C. Reilly's Hank Marlowe, who has a wife and son. The son he hasn't seen as he was born just after he shipped out. So the film does a pretty good job of telling the story, and even though the human characters for the most part are superfluous, the John C. Reilly character gives it some emotional heart as well as some humor, which was quite welcome. Kong Skull Island, I'm going to give it 5 stars as well. Go to StanTheMovieMan.com to read my complete review. Follow me on Twitter at MovieManStan, and you can send me emails, StanTheMovieMan at Comcast.net. Till next time, toodles.